My navigation app rerouted me through this street after midnight. Every house looks identical, same paint, same porch light, same closed curtains. The street lamp behind me just shut off. Then the next one ahead turned off. One by one, the darkness follows me. My phone vibrates. A notification appears. You are home. Confused, I laugh nervously and look up. The house in front of me has my name written on the mailbox, even though I've never lived there. The front door slowly creaks open on its own. I hear my own voice calling softly. Come inside. You're late? I back away, shaking, but the street behind me has changed. The houses now have boarded windows, and shadowy figures stand motionless on each porch. Their faces glitch and blur whenever the camera focuses on them. The whispering grows louder, overlapping. Everyone comes home eventually. I drop the phone while screaming. From the ground, the camera captures me being pulled backward into the open doorway by unseen hands.
I stayed late to prepare lessons after receiving an anonymous email insisting I must teach this class at night. I laugh it off, but my voice shakes slightly. Several desks now have notebooks open, pages filled with handwriting that wasn't there moments ago. The chalkboard begins to write on its own. Chalk scrapes loudly, spelling out a single sentence. Attendance is mandatory. I call out, demanding to know who's there. Slowly, translucent figures appear in the seats, students with hollow eyes and faint smiles, staring directly at me. When I blink, they are closer. The clock on the wall starts ticking faster, its hands spinning wildly, counting down. The camera drops as unseen hands grab me. The chalkboard fills completely with names, my name appearing last. The whispers stop abruptly, replaced by silence. A child's voice softly says, "Class dismissed." The motion sensors keep triggering on the third floor food court. The mall has been empty for hours. I can hear distant footsteps echoing, but they never match my pace. The mannequins seem slightly repositioned each time I pass them. I've reached the food court. All the chairs are stacked neatly on tables, except for one. There's a single tray sitting there, with food still warm. Suddenly, the digital menu boards flicker on. They all display the same message, open 24 hours. I can smell food in the air, even though every restaurant is closed. Figures are emerging from behind the counters. They are blurred, faceless customers carrying trays. They move in slow, unnatural loops. Their mouths open and close as if chewing, but no sound comes out. The food court lights shut off instantly. A soft voice whispers, "Thank you for shopping." The mall is silent and empty at sunrise. Cleaning crews arrive as usual.
Every night at exactly 12:12 a.m., the house across the street exhales. I don't mean the wind or creaking wood. I mean a long, slow breath, deep enough to fog its windows from the inside. No one has lived there for years. The family vanished without a trace, and the house was sealed by the police. Still, every night, the breath comes. And last night, it spoke my name. At first, I thought sleep was playing tricks on me, but then the lights inside the house flickered on room by room as if someone was walking through it. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown contact. "You're watching again." My heart dropped. I hadn't told anyone about the breathing. No one else ever noticed it. The next night, I recorded it. At 12:12, the sound came again, louder than before, wet and strained, like lungs filled with water. My camera started shaking on its own.
When I finally opened it, the hallway was empty, but the air smelled like damp soil. The next night, the knocking returned, louder this time. My phone lit up with a notification from an unknown number. Don't open it yet. I didn't sleep at all. At 3:03 the following morning, the door handle turned by itself, stopping just short of opening. A voice whispered from the other side, sounding exactly like mine. On the third night, I decided to record it. When the knocking began, my camera caught something my eyes didn't, bare feet standing inches from the door, facing inward. The message arrived again. "You opened it once before." Memories I didn't recognize flooded my mind, being buried, waking in darkness, screaming. When the door finally opened on its own, I understood the truth. I wasn't being visited, I was being returned. And now, at 3:03 a.m., someone else is knocking on your door, hoping you won't remember either. I noticed it by accident. Every night after midnight, my reflection blinks a second later than I do. At first I laughed it off, until one night, my reflection didn't blink at all. It just stared back, smiling slowly, whilst my own face remained still. The next evening, my mirror was already fogged, though the room was cold. A message appeared on the glass, "Stop copying me." When I wiped it away, my reflection raised its hand. I didn't. I stepped back in terror as the reflection pressed its palm against the glass from the inside, causing cracks to crawl outward like veins. Its mouth opened wider than humanly possible, and it whispered, "It's my turn now." The lights went out. When they came back on, the mirror was normal again, but tonight, people say I've been acting strange, because when I smile, I blink last. It started with a soft vibration beneath my bed at night, not loud enough to wake me fully, just enough to make my heart race. When I finally checked, I found my phone there, screen lit with a message sent from my own number. "Don't look down." The messages came every night after that, always warning me too late. It's breathing, it knows you're awake. I stopped sleeping, afraid of what might happen if I closed my eyes. The air beneath the bed smelled damp and cold, like a place that hadn't been opened in years. One night, my phone vibrated again, this time in my hand. The message read, "I'm under here now." Slowly, I felt something warm brush my ankle, and that's when I realized my bed doesn't have space underneath it.
I always hear whispers at night, but last Tuesday it became a voice, clear, soft, and urgent. "Open the closet." I froze. I don't own a closet in my bedroom. The voice called again, louder this time. "I'm waiting." Heart pounding, I turned slowly. The closet door at the far end of the room, which had never been there before, stood slightly ajar. A cold draft spilled out, carrying a smell of decay. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A new message from an unknown number, showing only one word, "Hurry." I tried to back away, but the floor creaked as if it was alive. The closet door swung open on its own, revealing darkness so deep it swallowed the weak light from my lamp. From inside came a soft, terrifying laugh, and a hand, pale and twisted, reached toward me. The last thing I heard before I blacked out was my own voice whispering from inside the closet, "You shouldn't have answered."
I moved into my new apartment last week, and everything seemed normal, until I noticed the shadow. Every night around 1:11 a.m., a dark figure appears in my bedroom window, standing perfectly still. At first, I thought it was a trick of the streetlight outside, but then it started moving, always mimicking me. One night, I stared straight at it, trying to scare it away. It grinned. Not a human smile, something jagged, unnatural. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a notification from an unknown number. "Stop looking at me." I ran to close the curtains, but when I turned back, the shadow was inside the room, kneeling at the foot of my bed. I froze as it whispered my name, and the window behind it reflected nothing. No glass, no streetlight, just darkness staring back at me.
It started with scratching, just faint, almost inaudible scratching coming from the walls at night. I ignored it at first, thinking it was rats, but then it spoke. My name, whispered, soft, deliberate. "Shake, come closer." I pressed my ear to the wall, heart racing, and it repeated my name, this time with a laughter that didn't belong to any human. The plaster began to crack, tiny lines spreading like veins, and I could see dark shapes moving just beneath the surface. When I tried to leave the room, the door slammed shut. The voice was everywhere now, echoing inside my head, "You can't leave. We're already inside you." That night, I realized it wasn't just in the walls. It was in me.
I found an old photograph at a thrift store, a smiling little girl standing alone in a garden. Something about her eyes made my stomach turn. That night, my phone buzzed with a photo message. It was the same girl, standing in my bedroom. I laughed nervously and locked my doors. The next morning, the photograph on my wall had changed. Her smile was wider, and her eyes, they were following me. Every night, she appeared closer in the new photos, on the couch, by the window, standing behind me while I slept. Yesterday, I woke up and she was gone from the pictures. But my reflection in the mirror, she was still there, smiling, whispering, "Now, it's your turn."
It started at 2:02 a.m., a single drop of water from the bathroom tap. I went to turn it off, but it was already closed. The dripping continued, steady, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. I shrugged it off and went back to bed. By the third night, the dripping had grown louder, echoing through the apartment. When I approached the bathroom, the tap was off again, but a voice hissed from the sink. "You can't stop me." The water turned black, and I saw my own reflection in it, smiling back at me, even though I wasn't. The next morning, my apartment smelled of wet earth. The tap dripped again that night, and I realized it's waiting for me to fall asleep.
I had just moved into a new apartment, excited for a fresh start. The first night was unnervingly quiet, the kind of silence that feels almost alive. Around 11 p.m., while unpacking, I noticed a dark shape sitting in the far corner of my living room. At first, I thought it was a shadow, nothing unusual in a dimly lit room. But as I blinked, the figure shifted slightly, and I realized it was sitting upright, watching me. My heart raced, but when I looked again, it had vanished. The next night, I kept the lights on, telling myself it was just fatigue playing tricks. Around midnight, I heard the faintest creak on the floorboards. The figure returned, closer this time, almost at the edge of the light.
The air was thick, cold, and smelled faintly of decayed flowers. A single bed lay in the center, neatly made, and the walls were covered in hundreds of photographs, everyone showing me sleeping in my own apartment. I stumbled backward in terror. Then a soft whisper came from the corner of the room. "I've been waiting for you." I ran to the door, but it wouldn't budge. The photographs on the walls began to change, showing me in moments I didn't remember, smiling, crying, sitting alone in the dark. The whispers grew louder, urgent, echoing in my head. "You opened it. Now it's mine." My flashlight flickered, and I caught a glimpse of a figure behind the bed, a tall shadow with empty eyes. I screamed, and when I blinked, the room was gone. The hallway was empty, the mysterious door nowhere in sight. But every night since, I wake up in my bed, and every morning one more photograph appears on my nightstand, showing me asleep.